Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
We're at the MGCOA annual meeting, and the course of the year is the Majestic at Lake Walden. And these two guys right here are representing this wonderful course. Darrell Kesler.
Pleased to meet you.
And this is Bill Fountain.
Thank you very much.
And Bill, you're going to tell us a little bit about the Majestic.
Well, the Majestic started just about 25 years ago, and we're very fortunate to have not only a beautiful piece of property to work with up front, but we had a wonderful shareholder group. We're all still together after 25 years. And matter of fact, Darrell and I first met at a golf course called Timber Ridge in East Lansing back in 1988.
Oh, you must have been about 3.
Oh, I might have, yeah, maybe 3.5. But we were all a lot younger then. But at the end of the day, Darrell's got another golf course in East Lansing, Bath area called Eagle Eye.
I've heard some great stories about Eagle Eye, especially the grand opening. What would you like to say about that?
Well, I'll tell you, it was quite an operation. Chris Lutzke and Pete Dye was there. And
Hi, this is Jack Berry with the Michigan Golfer on Television, and we're here this morning at this fabulous new Eagle Eye Golf Club in Bath, Michigan, just north of East Lansing, just a little bit north of Michigan State University, where Chris Lutzke is a two-degree champion here from Michigan State. Pete Dye is one of the great golf course architects of all time, and Paul Albanese.
How you doing, Jack? Nice to see you.
Paul is a partner with Chris, and tell us a little bit about how this all came about. How long have you been with Pete, and how did that start?
Well, I've been with Pete nearly 2 decades, believe it or not, and just a lot of hard work, a lot of years, a lot of golf courses under my belt. And when this project came up, I was at Michigan State and met with Darrell Kesler, and he asked me if I could design this course, and we got a hold of Pete and try to figure out if he'd collaborate with us, and he did, and then that's why we're standing here today.
And Pete, what you taught this young fellow a couple of things or two. What, starting that over at Kohler, over at?
Oh, way before Kohler. We started at Kohler, but been many miles since Kohler. But boy, this is a great golf course. I can say this because Chris did the whole thing out here today, and I just went around it, and it's fabulous condition too. So what Mr. Kesler's doing with his clubhouse, I mean, this is really quite a project to have here, and to see the golf course and see the condition. And Chris has picked up about everything you can think about there. But, it's really fun to come back and see what he's done, and especially to see it in such great condition. The superintendent down here has done a fabulous job. The whole project is way more than I ever anticipated, and Chris has done even a little bit more than I anticipated.
Pete doesn't get paid a dime for this either, I want you to know.
it was just, it was overwhelming, to be honest with you. But go ahead and tell that story.
So we were just chatting, Art and I, we were chatting early before today, and had a special guest out that day, Jud Heathcote, obviously the Michigan State coach, and apparently he's got he was not only a good but an excellent storyteller. And I think Art has a treat, hopefully, that he can share with everybody about a great joke that he said while he was there that grand opening day at Eagle Eye.
I looked at Lynn and thought, she could probably do a lot better. Let me give you a few stories and then maybe relate them to the day we're having. I always have to tell a Michigan joke, but the Michigan grad dies and he's trying to get into heaven, and St. Peter says, you're going to have to answer 3 questions. So he says, what are the 2 days of the week that begin with T? And the Michigan grad thinks and thinks, and he says, I got it. Today and tomorrow. The guy, well, I'll accept that. All right, how many seconds in a year? He thinks, 12. 12. Yeah, there's January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd. He says, well, I'll accept that. And then he said, what were the first words that Eve said to Adam in the Garden of Eden? And he scratches his head and he says, boy, that's a hard one. The gates open up, he said, grapes? The bartender said, this is a bar, not a fruit stand. Get out of here. Doug comes in the next day and says to the bartender, you got any grapes? The bartender said, I told you yesterday, I'll tell you again, we're never going to have any grapes. If you come in here again and ask for grapes, I'm going to nail your duck feet to the floor. Get out of here. The duck leaves. Comes in the next day, says to the bartender, you got any nails? The bartender says, no, we don't have any nails. You got any grapes? Guy goes to the dentist. And he tells the dentist, I can't stand pain. Dentist says, no problem, we'll just give you a shot of Nova. Oh, wait a minute, he says, I can't stand needles. He says, well, he says, we'll give you gas. He says, I'm allergic to gas. So he leaves, comes back with 2 great big pills. He says, what are those? Those are pain pills. He says, I can't take pills that big. So he leaves, comes back with a little tiny pill. He says, what's that? That's Viagra. He said, will that dull the pain? No, but it'll give you something to hold on to. One orders a straight whiskey, another guy has a Tom Collins. The bartender brings the drinks, he says, that'll be 30 cents. 30 cents? Yeah, how come? He said, well, I won the lottery a year ago. I always wanted to own a bar. And I was going to give away drinks free until I found out it was against the law. So I charged 10 cents for every drink that you get, regardless of what it is. Guy says, boy, that's amazing. Isn't that Ron Mason and Rick Conley and their hockey friends down at the end of the bar? Yeah, it is. He says, well, how come they don't have any drinks? He says, oh, they're waiting for happy hour when drinks are half price. Guy is sitting all across 3 seats in a theater. Usher comes down and says, sir, you'll have to get in 1 seat. You can't use 3 seats. He just says, Calls the manager. The manager comes down and says, if you don't sit in 1 seat, we're going to have to call the police and have you taken out of here. The guy just says, So they call the police. The police come down and said, sir, we're going to have to take you out of here, take you down to the station. And says, by the way, where are you from? And the guy says, the balcony.
So, let's get back to the beginning. Darrell, tell us you got involved in Timber Ridge.
Timber Ridge, John Dodge, who I did some work with before, called me up, wanted to know if I wanted to build a little clubhouse. It'll just be a small ranch and not going to spend much of any money. And I said, of course, sure. And I said, where? He said, Bath. Well, I live in Bath, and I hadn't heard anything about it at all. And make a long story short, it just went on from there. Timber Ridge was built. It was the first high-end course around the Lansing area.
No kidding.
Yes, and then they went out and purchased El Dorado, which I wasn't part of, and then all of a sudden the Majestic come around and asked if I wanted to be part of that, and it grew from there. After the Majestic was done, there was 400 acres in Bath that was going back for taxes, and I ended up picking that up, and we built Hawk Hollow, that 27 holes. And then we talked about across the street, maybe a golf course there, and that's where Chris Lusky was going to MSU. And it was almost comical. I was trying to find somebody to shape it, and Jerry Matthews, the architect, he went and said, well, there's this young kid out to MSU. And what it was, Pete Dye was sending Chris there, and I called him up. And he came out and we talked about what he wanted. Well, golly, he wanted room and board. He wanted more money than I ever paid anybody. He wanted a new dozer. He wanted all these things. And I said, God, I've never paid anybody that kind of money in my life. And finally, I went home and thought about it, and I called him up and I said, you know, I'm going to take the deal. He said, I'll let you know in a week. I don't know, I might just go back home because he's from Wisconsin. And that was on a Friday morning, and that night I couldn't believe what I'd heard, and I called him back up, and I knew he'd be out partying, you know, MSU. And I said, you know, we talked about everything but your bonus. And then I hung up and I went up north. I got home, there was 27 phone calls on it. To make a long story short, he did. We had the best of two worlds there when we did Hawk Hollow, because Jerry Matthews did a great job. Lusky had a little bit of his insight into it. And when he asked if he could do Eagle Eye, I told him, I said, if you can get Pete Dye to come along with it and his name to be involved, I said, I'll do it. And it went on from there.
A couple of tough negotiators here.
And since we got Woodside over on Wood Street, that gentleman started at 25 years. And he had 9 holes planted, the irrigation in for the other 9, 25 years, never opened it.
Wow.
And he called me twice and wanting to know if I would be interested, and finally about 6 years ago I said, sure, I'll talk to you, and we made a deal, and of course that's up and running.
Well, it's such a great story, and Bill, I have to ask you one question. What did you first think when you saw Lake Walden and Imagine Golf there?
Well, I had previously done the golf course at Timber Ridge with Darrell and Dodge and the crew there. And at the time, I had just opened up Railside in Grand Rapids. So I had a little 6-month-old and a 2.5-month-old kid. We had just remodeled our house, and John Dodge calls me up. He goes, hey, Billy, he says, I think I want you to take a look at this piece of property over here in Heartland. I said, where the heck is Heartland? So at the end of the day, I drove over there. And as soon as I saw that piece of property, I said, you have to be kidding me. I said, this place is unbelievable. It's 1,400 acres. It's like the size of the city of Brighton. And there's not a house it's got a beautiful lake in the middle of it. So I said, Kay, we got to come back here and just take a drive and let me think. You know, I didn't want to get her too pumped up about it. Well, I swear to God, we were done with that. On the way home back to Jenison was where we lived. We stopped and got a bottle of champagne, and I said, this might be our new home. And I'll never forget that day, and it's been that much fun ever since.
That's a great story. So you get out on the lake once in a while?
We do. We do, yes.
Well, congratulations, and we look forward to the rest of the celebration.
Well, he is, Bill's the one that made the Majestic go. He's the one that lived and breathed it. There might be some of us that put a nickel into it, but he's still the one that made it all happen. Don't let anybody ever tell you any different.
Well, it takes both versions. So thanks, both of you, for bringing it to us all. Thank you.
So much. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.